Just have a chair there. Okay, Mark. Now, just to go through things, like I mentioned to you that I'm going to do a taped interview with you and stuff. There's my ID. Okay, so I'm Detective Mike Tabler, Police Service. And I'm here to talk to you tonight because of the fact that you happen to be the renter of a garage that has come to our attention due to a missing person. Okay? Now, first of all, can you please state your name for me?
Mark Twitchell.
And it's Twitchell.
Correct.
Okay. Your date of birth, sir?
July 4th, 79.
4th of July, 79?
Yeah.
Okay, and your address at home?
Is 30 Dayton Crescent.
30 Dayton?
Yeah, D-A-Y-T-O-N.
Okay. In
St. Albert.
St. Albert? Okay. And postcode there?
T8N4X4.
Okay, phone number at home?
780-977-7840.
Okay. Yourself?
Same thing.
Pardon me?
It's the same.
Same number?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. No landline at all?
No, I still in favor of landline just for cost and convenience, basically.
Okay.
Yeah.
And, okay. Now, the garage in question that we're talking about tonight, can you tell me the address of that place?
5712 40th Avenue.
5712 40th Avenue. And when did you rent that garage?
I began renting it on September 1st.
Okay. And you rented it September 1st?
Mm-hmm.
And who'd you rent it from?
A company called Kirkside Real Estate.
Kirkside?
Kirkside, all one word, yeah.
Okay. And you got the only key to, or was it one or two
There's
keys?
2 keys.
Okay. So you got 2 keys.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And where are those keys now?
You guys have the one that I had.
Okay.
And the other one, the last I heard of, is with one of my production assistants, Mike Young.
Mike Young, one of your production assistants.
Yeah.
Okay. And he is an assistant to you, but he didn't rent the garage, it's yours, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you pay for it?
Yeah.
For the rental?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now I understand that you're doing this with a company and you're doing some other things.
Yeah.
So you personally rented it on behalf of the company.
Right.
And what do you call your company?
Express Entertainment.
Express Entertainment. Okay. And I understand you're filming and stuff like that there.
Yeah.
Okay. And that was the purpose of getting the facility.
Yeah.
Mike Young is one of your assistants, and he has the other key.
Yeah.
Okay. And there are no other keys out for that garage anywhere.
None that I know.
Okay. Now, the locks on the garage.
Mm-hmm.
Can you describe them? I know there's 2 overhead doors and 1 pedestrian door on this garage.
Yes.
The 2 overhead doors face, I believe it's north, into the alley.
Mm-hmm.
And the pedestrian door faces the house at that address.
Right.
And that would be south. Now, the house is rented by people separate from you,
right,
who have no access to the garage.
Correct.
Okay? And the windows are all blocked and the doors are metal and nobody can see in there.
Right.
And it's nobody's business what goes on in there, that's your...
We block out the lights so that during the day when we're filming and we're trying to create a nighttime atmosphere, that the sunlight doesn't get in our way.
Of course, yeah. Things you have to do with the production.
Yeah. We try to control the light as much as possible.
Okay. So you rented this on the 1st of September, and then you're doing some filming.
Correct.
Okay. Now, what have you been filming there? Have you been filming every day, or what's been going on there?
Nope. Well, most of my stuff is all pre-production. I knew that I was going to use it as a location for filming, so basically I began looking for something that was suitable in like late August.
Yeah.
So found that garage, found that it was an ideal location. It worked great for what our purposes were, and rented it. The only time that we actually spent shooting in that place was the last weekend of September.
The last weekend of September?
Yeah.
Okay.
We had an evening shoot on the Friday, and that was for a couple of hours actually at someone else's house. It was downtown, we shot in our condo. And then all day Saturday is when we used the garage to film.
Okay.
So, sorry, my contacts are
Yeah.
anyway. But yeah, so all day Saturday we used to shoot in that garage area, and then the Sunday in the evening we filmed somewhere else. So yeah, for that purpose, it was actually just the one day that we were there for actual shooting. Before that, we were in and out throughout the month for production design purposes, which was building our set pieces, getting things set up in there, power, that kind of thing, getting everything ready.
Okay.
So.
So you, what type of film is it, or that you're shooting at this particular time? You're talking about shooting at this, what sort of a film is it?
It's a suspense thriller, actually. It's a short film. The total runtime is only going to be about 8 or 9 minutes.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Suspense thriller?
Right.
Okay, and what would you do in a film like this once you've filmed 8 or 9 minutes?
Go through the editing process. I try to organize it so that it didn't have a lot of effects work to do, so it wouldn't take forever in post-production. But we edit the film together and then submit it to film festivals, try to get it picked up by a distributor. Hopefully somebody will grab it and use it in some way. Or it's also used as pitch material in order to develop a television series or a feature film out of it, to convince someone that we know what we're doing as filmmakers and that we deserve to get money basically to make more material. So it's all in the interest of developing everyone's career that way.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I just don't understand how that works, and
well, you have to start from scratch your own way, because in our industry, there's really only 2 ways to get in and actually do that kind of work. And one of them is to either pay to go to a film school and then graduate and come out and do it. But usually that path doesn't take you very far. It's kind of like more of the lower end kind of jobs. I'm more interested in writing, producing, and directing, and I've only noticed after the 3 or 4 years that I've been trying to get into the industry that the only way to do it is to make your own stuff, prove that you know what you're doing, and then people start to take you seriously. So I started making, my first film was a feature, sci-fi fantasy film based on Star Wars content, which is all completely 100% shot now and in post-production. I'm working on a comedy right now, which is it's actually a full-blown feature that's actually going to have a decent budget in the neighborhood of about $3.5 million. And just closing the first round of financing for that at the end of this month. And then we're moving into pre-production so we can finish off like casting A-list actors, getting all that stuff set up, and then preparing to film that sometime in May or April of next year.
Really?
So, yeah. It's been a long process. I started developing Day Players, which is the name of the comedy, back in December of last year. And I kind of put myself through business school, in a way, to figure out what investors would want to see in order to invest in that kind of project. And built up all my blocks, put all my ducks in a row, and I've just been, even though working full-time and a lot of times during the year in order to pay bills, I've still put in full-time hours into the film to develop it, because I'm just like, tunnel vision.
Oh, yeah.
I want to get a career going. So I got that whole thing developed and going, and pitched it to countless people, playing one side against the other to get talent and money to agree and come to the middle. And now with the economic turbulence in the U.S., it's a little bit tougher. But I've been assured that it's not going to affect our deal or anything like that. So first round's supposed to be finished at the end of this month, and then sometime within the next 3 or 4 weeks after that, we're getting the full budget in so that we can actually move forward in making this thing. And my co-producer works out of Los Angeles, and he's done things like Ocean's 11 and Old School, and worked on these things and uses his connections to help us out. And hopefully along those lines, we can try to get a distribution deal with Warner Brothers and skip some of the red tape that usually comes along with trying to go in their front door and get hit by all their gatekeepers, which are designed to keep people out, basically. So it's tough. It's really hard, but it's very worth it. I love what I do.
Yeah.
And, you know.
Obviously, you're very passionate about it.
Oh, yeah, I love it. I love filmmaking. I figured that out back in 2005 when I first started writing my first script.
Yeah.
And from the first day that I stepped on the set,
Yeah.
in August of '06, that was when I knew. And then I was just like, there's no going back.
Yeah.
Anything else is crap.
Yeah.
Nothing else would make me feel fulfilled in what I was doing and really love what I do, so I just chased it with everything I had.
Neat. Now, so getting back here, the only person that would have had access is Mike Young or yourself to that place.
Yeah.
Now, tonight you're asked to go down there and meet our constables at
Yes.
the garage, and that's because they were looking for a missing person.
Yeah.
Okay. And you were contacted, you were apparently at home in St. Elmer, which is quite a distance from this, and yet you readily responded down to help the police, and we certainly appreciate that. Now, you arrived at the garage and you noted something immediately on your arrival when you went up to the door to show the police the garage.
Yeah.
And what was that?
Well, the first thing that happened, I drove in, I parked in the back where I usually parked. The constable was calling me when I was about a minute out to get there.
Yeah.
And talked to him and said, yeah, so like, where are you? And he was in the back, so I went to meet him. And well, 1 second, I'm not my wife. She's let me keep her.
Oh.
Yeah, that's her. I'll let her leave a voicemail. She's gonna be up anyway. So anyway, so I get into the back, and I'm like, okay, well, let's go check it out. So I get to the actual gate, side gate there, and they mentioned that it had been blocked off somehow. I didn't know what that was about. I opened it, there was nothing there. So they said, okay, well, I guess it's not. It was a little odd, but went down the side of the garage, came back around, looked at the door itself, and the first thing that I noticed upon looking a little closer at it, because the light wasn't that great, but I could see what was going on, the padlock didn't look familiar to me. Okay. And I was the one that actually put the latch on the door, and I had a padlock previously, but it wasn't the same one. The one that I had was like the silver on the outside, like a black plastic dial in the center, and this one was just all metal. Yeah. So
you noticed a different padlock.
Yeah.
And that on the door.
Right.
Now, what other locks are there on that door? Can you describe?
There's also a deadbolt.
A deadbolt?
Yep. Pretty standard lock.
Yeah. And is there another type of lock or handle or?
No, just the doorknob, but I don't think the doorknob locks. I've never tried it, but I don't think it does.
Okay. So regular doorknob, deadbolt, and then a padlock. Okay, and the padlock was the padlock through a latch of some sort. Yeah, that would hold the door, close the lock, and that was the same, but the lock itself was different.
Correct.
Okay. Now, okay, you said that you were there last weekend of September, and that was the only time you were shooting there?
Yeah, that was the only time we had a full crew and cast and filming.
So that's the last weekend of September.
Yep.
And then we're up to the 19th of October here. So that's just about 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because you were filming through the weekend, I think. Yeah. And we're in the weekend now, so. So just about 3 weeks since and that's the only filming that you've done. Have you been back there since that filming?
Yeah, a couple of times.
Yeah. When was that?
Oh, let's see. I went back, I don't remember the exact date, but I went back one time because we had like a table saw and a bunch of tools that were there, and my dad stores that stuff in his garage, so I told him, you know what, come meet me, we'll load it up and get rid of it. So I went over there and met him after work one day, and he loaded that stuff up and took it home. The next time was when I was taking delivery of a steel drum, using this garbage can, basically. So had some issues with them in terms of delivering it. The company kept missing the day or saying that they were going to be there at a certain time and weren't. And so I was just like frustrated. I called them and said, okay, well, call me like an hour before you get there, we'll meet. So they did, we went to the location, dropped the drum off, so that was that part. And then last Friday
That's Friday.
was when I went there to just clean everything up, get the basic garbage out of there and stuff like that. There was still like a box of bottles and stuff like that, things that had been there previous to me renting the place that I just never got around to getting rid of. But just getting some stuff out of there, that was...
When you say last Friday, you mean the one just passed? And I mean, we're now in Sunday morning, right?
No, it was a week ago.
A week ago.
Yeah.
So, today being the 19th, it would have been like, probably the 12th.
Wait, no, today's the 19th, today's Sunday, right? Like,
Oh, yeah.
So, the Friday before this Friday.
So probably about the 10th.
Yeah. So, check the calendar.
Yeah, I'll let you do that. I don't have a calendar here to do.
Calendar.
But the 10th sounds about right.
Yeah, 10th, that's what it was.
Okay. So Friday the 10th, you go down there and clean the place up.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the last time you were there.
I think so.
Because I'm wondering if that's when you last saw your padlock on the door.
See, this stuff it bleeds together, so like,
Okay.
one of my problems is always, I have issues with this, I have also issues with remembering tasks to do, so I live on lists. I try to formulate lists, as long as I have a list and I can check things off as I'm doing them, I'm okay. But, I mean, so I need to stay organized, I'm a procrastinator, stuff like that. So, I think I did drop off, and honestly, I don't remember if it was this past week or the week before it, but I remember dropping off some cleaning materials just for the next time when we were going to go in there. My intention again was to pitch this thing and get it into a TV series or a movie. And the place is so inexpensive to rent that I figured, you know what, for future episodes, that'd be great to have. So, yeah.
What does it cost?
$175 a month. It's not bad.
$175 a month?
Yeah.
For the garage?
Mm-hmm. Looking around prior to that, I was looking at prices of $225, $250 for something similar.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought, wow, that's not bad. It's plenty of space, it has power, so we can run all of our cameras and lights and everything off of it. Last time we were there, we had such nightmares. Oh man, like renting just really bad lighting kits that would burn out bulbs all the time and stuff like that. But we never had any issues with the breakers or the power in that place. Everything worked fine. So.
Well, that's all right.
And it's a great workshop too. It's better than trying to borrow other people's places to do stuff.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So you're saying that you've worked sometimes full-time and then geared yourself for this. Where do you work when you're working full-time?
I was working basically corporate sales jobs for the most part. You know, it's the kind of thing like, when I do work full-time and I work for someone else, I try to find something that I'll enjoy, usually technology related. Like I worked for TELUS, selling wireless gear for them, and that was fun.
Yeah.
So I did that stuff. But yeah, something where I can have like a bit of a passion for that and actually feel like what I'm contributing is what I'm getting out of it. So usually why I work on commission, because I feel like the more work I put in, the more reward I'll get out of it.
Yeah.
And that's usually what I do. So I found like I've got a really good natural flair for it.
Mm-hmm.
I do that kind of thing if I need to be working or paying bills and that kind of thing. I'm a little bit more discerning when it comes to that stuff. I try not to get involved in something that I'm only going to be in for a short period of time.
Yeah.
Jobs in the last couple of years that anything where I had to leave or anything like that, it was always just because there wasn't the right fit.
Yeah.
And we usually find that out pretty early on.
Yeah. So you've been working in that type of thing. When was the last time you worked at a job like that?
Last time was the end of May.
End of May. So since then, you've been working to get your production going?
Yeah.
Okay. And your wife, I understand, is employed, but on maternity leave?
Correct.
Okay, so you've got some income there as a supplement, and And where do you get the money from for the production and for the rental and all that sort of stuff?
It's investors.
Investors?
Yeah, what I basically do is sell equity in the film. So they'll, if I have a budget worked out, then I need so much money to make the movie. What they do is put that money forward into the film in exchange for a percentage of ownership of the project.
Yeah.
So usually we split it 50-50. The production company, that's me making the movie, gets half of ownership of the movie, and the investors putting up the money get the other half.
Okay.
So then once it gets distributed, goes into theaters, gets on home video, starts making money, we split all that 50-50, once we recover the budget.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And then well, in the meantime, I mean, stuff like that takes a year or two at least to come through.
Yeah.
So in the meantime, I'm living off of producer fees, which are about 10% of whatever the project is.
Yeah. Okay. And who do you have for investors on this film?
Let's see. Ones that are involved in day players so far. My brother-in-law, Travis Barish. I got a guy named John Pinsent who has his own chartered accounting company here.
John Pinsent. Yeah.
And he's a member of the Venture Alberta group, which is a big group of guys who just move money around and invest in different deals and stuff like that. Okay. And I first got in touch with them actually it was through the internet, found them online, submitted my materials. Didn't really think I'd get anything out of it, but then I would call back saying, you know what, you passed deal screening, let's go and present this to like full groups of investors in Edmonton and Calgary. And so I'd make my pitch about the film, and they put some interest in with it. The deal structure underwent a couple of changes throughout the time that it was floating around within their circle. And then when I recently got approved for a gap financing program, I was able to actually offer them a situation where they weren't taking on any risk. It's quite rare for investors, so that looked really good, and that's when everybody was like, oh, okay, I'm in. Because what they're essentially doing is lending us 10% of our budget in the short term in order to get the full one opened in a line of credit, and then when it comes through, when we get our whole budget, those guys get paid back right away. And then we don't miss the money because it comes back to us in the form of an Alberta Film Fund government grant.
Oh, yes. So you have got these investors, and now you've already got this government grant that's come through?
The grant's been approved already. We were a prime candidate because the Alberta Film Fund, they really like Albertan-owned projects, Albertan talent in front and off the screen. They're really, they get involved with that kind of stuff. And I actually know a guy who has a business degree and is really good at writing grant proposals and getting approved for them. Really good track record, who's going to write the proposal for us. The fact that we're shooting 80% of it in Alberta with very tiny legs out in like LA and New York. Just, it goes to show them that, we're keeping it all in province as much as we can, using as much Albertan talent. In fact, the 2 leads are Albertan. So we're looking really good on that front. It's just a matter of showing them that we're coming to the table with what we need to make the movie and get it distributed. And then they say, okay, we'll reimburse you for up to 20% of everything you spend inside the province, which for us is a little over $400,000 bucks. Mm-hmm. So if the investors put up the $350,000 to open up our gap, get our budget, and put it in the bank, we pay them back right away. Alberta Film Fund comes in and fills the hole. A lot of homework, a lot of research to get done, but it's a beautiful deal structure. It works for everybody. I'm only giving up 10% more ownership than I would have been getting out there on my own with no back-end support that way. So the fact that I can get this done a lot faster and a lot easier by using somebody else's credit rating, why not? You know what, that's fine. It's a matter of kind of time versus ownership. I'm not going to sit on this for 5 years and wait for it to happen. You know what I mean? These are the goals that are set up. So, and everybody who's helped me on Star Wars has been so great. I've got so many people who have donated countless hours of time and energy and resources into that, and they've done it all for free, and I want to pay them back. I want to give them a nice, cushy, budgeted project to come in on and work on and get paid on. Get career experience, actually get paid for doing what they were doing before. Only a little bit less, because instead of having one person do 8 jobs on a no-budget indie, each person can focus on their one thing on the feature, and we're good. So,
good.
Yeah.
It's interesting how that all comes together.
Can't get me started on this stuff. I can go for hours. Yeah.
Now, so back again, so we're talking about back at the garage, and you're saying that the 10th was the last time that you were at the garage.
Yeah.
And you can say that absolutely for sure.
No, it was either a couple of days before or a couple of days after that I dropped off some cleaning stuff. It was like a Tuesday, Wednesday, something like that.
Tuesday or Wednesday, you dropped off some cleaning stuff.
Yeah.
Now, when's your next plan to shoot there?
Oh, it's not decided yet.
Not decided yet.
It's still up in the
So
air.
there's nothing planned for that garage.
No.
You live in St. Albert.
Yeah.
You'd be concerned about dropping off a few cleaning supplies there at the garage when nobody else is there, sometime between that weekend, and it had to be done right away.
Well, not necessarily right away. The way that I do it again, it's on a list. So I would have had like a long list of line items of stuff that I'm getting done that day, and it just happened to be one of them. So it's like a stop off, drop it off, and then go.
Now, what sort of cleaning supplies would you have at that place then?
Paper towels, like stain cleaner, gloves, the usual stuff. Just because we deal with this, when you do anything that's involving like suspense thrillers or anything like that, and you want to have something that looks like blood on the screen, we use this mix that's like a corn syrup with food coloring in it, because it looks really good on camera, it has the right consistency and everything, but it's sticky as hell. Gets everywhere, and it's a nightmare. And last time, it got all over the chair, it got all over the floor. It's like ridiculous.
Yeah.
So, and that was really my thing, was just because then everybody's grabbing stuff and moving it over, and every time they do, they rub up against it and get it all over their clothes, and it's sticky and annoying. So, it's just a matter of keeping that stuff off of there and clean, and not having to deal with that, because we spend the problem with an untested effect. This thing where we were, the achieved shot was running a sword through a guy who was sitting in a chair.
Yeah.
And so the way we did it is we just had like the actor sitting in the chair, and then the other actor pretending to hold the sword in him, and then we go back, lock the camera off, it hasn't moved, shoot this, where we take the same color shirt that the guy in the chair was wearing, put like a Ziploc bag full of this corn syrup there, and then just, boom, put the blade through it so that it comes out with the corn syrup on there dripping. Then they have to digitally take that, put it onto our original shot so it looks like it's coming through the guy realistically. And it's this complex setup, and we spent like 2-3 hours on that one thing, because we hadn't actually tested it before or set it up prior. So, I mean, it's kind of like learn trial by fire and figure it out as you're going along, but it turned out really good. I think it'll look good once it's all done. So
Sounds kind of unique.
but it's a huge mess too. Like again, you're dripping stuff everywhere. You try to kind of curb that as much as you can, but it happens. You're walking back and forth, and things get moved around. So.
Yeah. Now, so you were doing quite a bit of that sort of stuff in the garage, that kind of shooting, where there was like blood effect and that. So what other supplies would you have there that would be needed for that kind of thing?
Well, it depends what you mean by supplies, because there's supplies and props and a lot of other stuff. A lot of that stuff that's in the garage was there when I rented it. Stuff that I got just for the shoot. There was like this kit full of knives that we were going to do, where we were going to do like a reveal shot, show the guy like opening this kit, and it looks all menacing and everything, kind of put that into a montage. What else? Like the usual duct tape for the guy sitting in the chair, duct taping him up. There's that stuff. The sword, obviously. There's two swords. One that like looks all glorious and cute on camera, and then the other one that's just a stunt one that's more stain resistant that we use to like dump all the syrup on and everything. Some clothes, prop, mask, stuff like that.
Now, it's me, I'm just thinking about this. I mean, it's kind of odd that you're filming that kind of thing And we end up drawn to that garage because of a missing person
Yeah.
who supposedly went there.
That's really freaky too, and as soon as they called me on the phone, as soon as Maxwell called me and said that, you know, this is what's going on, I get this weird chill, because it just doesn't sit right. So the first thing I start asking myself is who all knows about what we do there and what our schedule is like and stuff like that. And if we have a shooting schedule, usually there's a bunch of people in and out of there to prep leading up to it, and then we shoot something there, and then that's it. Until we announce something else, there's no fixed activity.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know.
So who would have access to it to get things set up?
It'd be me and anybody else that had a key. So basically, for this instance, it was me, Mike, and Jay.
And Jay.
Yeah.
Who's Jay? You've mentioned Mike before.
Mhm.
Jay.
Jason Howitson.
Jason Howitson.
Mm-hmm.
How do you spell his last name?
Howatson.
Okay, Jason Howitson. How old's Jason?
28.
Now, you know him and Mike from before?
Yeah.
How long?
Couple years.
Couple of years? How old's Mike?
I think Mike's turning 30.
30 years. So they would have had access, but the only one that had a key was Mike.
Mm-hmm. Well, passes back and forth between them.
And these two would maybe pass it back and forth?
Yeah. I've been trying to hook up with Mike because I owed those guys a couple $100 for materials for production design, and we're trying to figure out a time to meet to do that, and also to get the key back from them and stuff like that. And he said, you know, hey, if you're around the south sometime, Saskatchewan Drive, drop by. But he always lets me know basically an hour before the timing would be, and it's too short a notice.
Yeah.
So we've missed each other up until now.
When was that?
Well, I mean today, but we kept just back and forth and missing one another.
Well, you and Mike connected today?
No, but tried to. Not today. The guy operates entirely on text message. There's no actual calling and talking to him. So, he'll text me and say, "I'm gonna be in St. Albert around this time. If you're gonna be there, I can drop by." And I'll be like, "Well, no, that's no good. We're gonna be gone," something like that.
Yeah.
And so. The last time that I actually talked to him, I think it's the 12th. I was checking before because I've still got some of his incoming text messages. He was, had some Howler tickets I was going to sell him. It was on the 15th.
15th?
Yeah.
On the 15th, you met with him?
No, just texted back and forth.
Just texted.
Never actually got back together. No.
Were you on the south side on the 15th?
Calendar again. Might have been. Could have been either the 14th or the 15th.
And what would you have been on the south side for?
That would have been for dropping off the cleaning materials at the garage. It was either then or the week before it, 8th, 7th, 8th, but I can't remember.
And where would you have got these cleaning materials? Like, these sound like something kind of special. Where would you get that?
Oh, it's like Home Depot or James
Home
or
Depot.
something like that, yeah.
Oh, yeah?
We either
It's just regular cleaning shit?
Yeah. We don't need anything that crazy, it's not like.
Well, okay, well, I don't know, you're describing this stuff.
Yeah, no, it's just like usual stuff. We don't have anything special. The garage is a dirty place anyway. We have no intention of putting anything cool in there or anything like that.
Yeah.
So, just whatever will get the sticky stuff off or that kind of thing. And
Okay.
that's basically it. Something that, if it's not going to sit there and smell up the place,
Yeah.
be better.
So, now, you've been told that we're looking for a missing man.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Have you been told his name?
No.
Okay. The name is John
Okay.
Altinger. Altinger.
Okay.
Does that name ring a bell to you or mean anything to you?
No.
Never heard it before?
No.
He's nobody that you'd been using as an actor or that maybe Mike or Jason would have been in touch with?
No, I don't think so. I don't know if Mike or Jay know him, but nothing that in terms of casting or production crew or anything like that.
No?
No.
Not a worker, not an employee you've heard about?
No.
No. Now, do you have any girls that are employed by you or that take part in anything? Any of the setup or
Often.
anything?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We had a really great actress on this one that we worked with. She came to the condo set on the Friday. Came up from Red Deer. Her name's Katrina.
Katrina?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And that's the most recent.
Okay.
I got some Facebook buddies too that are all kind of in the industry and back and forth, and submitting themselves for casting calls and things like that. But
yeah.
nobody that's crew.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, these Facebook buddies, would they have connected with anybody like this maybe that was just a single guy that maybe attracted him to towards this sort of line of work or anything like that?
Maybe. I don't know. Not that I'm aware of, but possibly. I don't.
Okay. Okay, the indications we have, and we've got this through our investigations, and the address comes up, and the garage is described, and he actually says that he was there on that particular day. The particular day we're talking about is I think the 15th.
15th, okay.
Now, and I may be mistaken, I may be mixing a couple of things up, but I think the 15th. And that's the day you're indicating that you were probably down there putting supplies there.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
Like on Wednesday or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was in and around the same sort of time frame that you were there. That he would have been there.
Okay.
Like in the afternoon.
Really?
Yeah. And he was supposed to go there and meet a girl who described the address and told him how to get there. Now this is really met through an internet site.
Okay.
Doesn't know her from before. So he, of course, lets friends know where he's going.
Right. Okay.
But, go to meet a girl, swear him sends it out to a few friends. All of a sudden, he disappears. Last known place was there. Said he went there. Met a guy. The girl wasn't there. Met a guy in the garage.
In the garage?
Apparently.
Okay.
Now, can you tell me, what does it explain to you? Tell me what you're thinking.
Well, it explains the foreign padlock. If he switched it out or something like that, that makes sense.
Who switched it?
Whoever this guy is.
Well, he didn't switch anything. He went there and met somebody there, yeah.
Okay, but that's what I mean. Like, whoever he met there,
Yeah.
because I don't know of anybody else that has access unless they, accessed it themselves, pretty
Yeah.
much.
So your lock was totally gone off there,
Yeah.
okay? The latch was still there, but a different padlock's there. So anybody could have come along with a set of bolt cutters, cut yours off, put their own on, right? That still doesn't give them access to the garage because there's still a deadbolt, right?
Yeah.
This guy indicates to his friends that he arrived, met a guy in there, the girl wasn't there, got a call from her later,
Okay.
was going back to the garage.
Huh.
And that's where the cold trail goes cold on us.
So, okay, let me get this straight.
Yeah.
The guy who's missing
Yeah,
shows up to my garage,
right. 5712 40th Ave, yeah.
claims to have been in it,
Yeah, and talk to a guy.
talked to another guy.
Yeah.
So now there's two of them. And then he leaves.
Because the girl's not there, that he's supposedly.
Right.
Okay.
Okay. And then he talks to her on the phone.
I don't know that he talks to her on the phone or if he gets a message from her or which way that one went.
Okay.
Okay.
He somehow ends up communicating with her, and then comes
Goes back to the garage to meet her.
Okay. All right.
Now, does that sound like anything that you know about?
Not at all.
Does it sound like anything that could be related in any way to any movie sort of stuff you're doing, or?
Not that I'm aware of. I mean, I'm the producer. I pretty much control all the elements.
Yeah.
So if there was anything like that, if somebody needs to borrow the place or whatever, then they would let me know.
They'd let you know.
They'd ask or something like that. So yeah, no, I don't know anything about that.
No. Does the name Jen mean anything to you?
No, Constable Maxwell asked me about that too, and
Yes,
I don't
yeah.
know Jen or anything like that.
So the name Jen doesn't mean anything to you. You don't know a Jen. You don't have an actress named Jen.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What's your wife's name?
Jess.
Jess. Not Jen.
No.
Okay. Is your wife involved in anything with the garage at all, or does she even know it exists, or?
Yeah, she knows it exists. She tries to stay out of the film stuff as much as possible. She's, from her own explanation, too close to the material, because every time I talk about these things, it's like this step, this step, this step, this step, and it's just too much. So I try to, pretty much kind of curb that whole thing. If she asks about it, I'll gladly tell her, but generally she's not interested until something comes to fruition.
Yeah.
This whole time for the past year, I've been working on financing my other movie. She'll ask me like, do you is the money in the bank yet, or something like that. Until it's in the bank, don't get excited, that sort of stuff. So
Yeah. Okay.
but yeah, so she's on mat leave and looking after the kid, and that's pretty much the daily life. And then when I get home, I take over.
Yeah.
We share that whole thing. So yeah, but no.
Okay. And your parents, of course, are supportive of this.
Oh yeah.
They live here in Edmonton?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Whereabouts do they live?
They live like Killarney area, so it's like
Killarney.
31st Ave and 87th Street.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Know the area well.
Mm-hmm.
Have they always lived in that area, Mark?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Where'd you go to school?
Long time. I went to school in those little trio of schools. It's right around their house. It was St. Matthew's for elementary, and then St. C's for junior high, and then O'Leary for high school.
O'Leary, yeah. Okay. Yeah, and you're, what do you think, 29?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Huh.
I'm trying to think if I've...
You play any sports when you were at O'Leary?
Not as team sports, no. I mean, I like basketball, so I play with my buddies after school and stuff like that, but
Yeah.
didn't want it to become a job, so I didn't like join the teams and stuff like that, so.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right. So once again, John Altinger is not a name you've known. Nobody like that's tried to rent the place from you. Nobody by the name of Jen means anything to you.
No.
No relatives named Jen.
Oh, maybe. I have to go through the list.
Okay. All right.
My mom's
Fair
112. So, you know, let me get back to you on that one. It's a checker for sure, but.
Yeah.
No, that's, and I'm trying to think like if they don't really have any like, you know,
Yeah.
regular,
Okay, what about Mike and Jason? Now, if we were to call them up and get them to come down, I mean, what kind of guys are they? Are they decent, straight?
Oh yeah, no, they're good guys.
Yeah.
They're really open dudes. I met them when I was working at Corporate Express,
Yeah.
which is like a office supplies company.
Yeah,
And,
yeah, I've heard of it.
Yeah, so Mike was the IT guy over there, and Jay did some operations and stuff like that, and basically like putting out fires was his job. It was
Yeah.
complex, I wasn't quite sure, but,
Yeah.
so yeah, they worked together there. Jay left a little bit shortly after I did, and then Mike hung on for a long time because it was a really easy gig with a pretty decent paycheck.
Yeah.
Until he just got bored,
Yeah.
had to leave. The two of them still work together actually to this day at another place, and yeah. So I kind of recruited them
Yeah.
a little bit from Corporate Express to help me out on Star Wars because they were both huge fans and wanted to do it, and did the whole gambit of everything on that project, and then stuck around and said, hey, you know, if you ever need any like set building or anything like that for day players, let us know. So they'll be the ones that I'll go to get like my apartment set and all this other stuff that I need for that film done and made. Anything that's going to be in Edmonton, they'll pretty much be supervising.
Yeah. Okay.
Because those guys are miracle workers when it comes to building things on the cheap. Like they built me an entire TIE fighter cockpit for like $130.
Really?
I couldn't believe it. I'm like, really? And like, you look at this thing on a set, it looks like garbage. It's like cardboard and gels and like, you know, like caulking.
Yeah.
And it looks like crap, but then when you look at it through a camera, because you can fool a camera pretty well, it looks really good. So we're sitting there lighting the thing and switching back and forth to get Star Wars paused at that exact moment to see what our lighting looks like, flipping back and forth, and then they come back to ours and they go, okay, now go back to ours. They think ours is the movie.
Yeah.
Okay, I think we're done.
Yeah.
It looks good. So yeah, no, they did a fantastic job. They ended up giving me like 8, 9 really good screen accurate sets for less than $3,000 in total. So, and that included like a giant friggin' Star Destroyer bridge trench and everything. And man, I don't know how they do it. The compositors are gonna have total gold to work with when they finish that off, but
Yeah.
it's kind of already served its purpose.
Yeah.
It's already proved that I know what I'm doing and got me to the next level, but I'm just gonna finish it off anyway because I love it. And
Yeah.
put so much work into it now anyway, this will keep going.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
So, it's kind of hard to go back to that though when you've got like so much other stuff going on. I'm working on developing paying projects. I've got this incredibly beautiful daughter that I just love to death, and you know, I want to get home to. And
Yeah. Oh.
so she's 8 months.
Oh, yeah.
I've been sleeping straight through the night since the 2nd week.
Oh,
So
wonderful.
we got completely lucky with that. Great disposition and
Yeah.
everything. She's just amazing.
Oh, lucky.
I want her to, like, you know, join the family visit.
Really?
Break it down. She's like, Dad, I got a script for you. That'd be awesome.
Yeah. Good.
But
That would be great. Yeah. Okay, Mark. Let me step out because I've got some other people. I just want to go over what we've talked about with them and see if there's anything else I'm missing.
okay.
I think I've got to talk to Mike and to Jason.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the only other 2 people that might have had any access to that garage at all.
Yeah. Yeah. They're the only guys that have the key to the deadbolt. The big reason why I got the padlock is because I just didn't trust the deadbolt. Because, like, okay, when I first got the place, I knew that Kirkside was looking at replacing it, so they actually had like a lock guy come in and put a new deadbolt on, which is fine, but I don't know what to compare it to. It's only half the equation. You have this deadbolt, and then the hole that it's in, I don't know if you've seen this thing, but it's like all carved out. There's a bunch of space in there. It's like, I don't know, it didn't look that reliable to me in terms of like holding. So, I mean, I didn't put much stock in it. I thought honestly that the latch with the padlock would be more of a visual deterrent if anybody wanted to get in there. and just kind of be a little stronger in general because of the way that it was actually like fastened on there. So, I mean, you know, like, I feel like an idiot now, but half the time I wouldn't even bother with the deadbolt because it's like, I didn't really believe in it, quite frankly, from looking at it and loosening it and stuff like that. So, I mean, it was off and on. Sometimes I lock it just for the hell of it, but I mean, generally if I'm coming in and out, I just leave it.
Okay.
So.
Now you say generally, if I'm coming in and out. And we talked about how many times you've been there.
Yeah.
And there was one weekend where you were there shooting.
Mm-hmm.
And then you've been back about a week ago. And then this last week to drop off cleaning supplies.
Right. Yeah.
And we know that was probably the 15th. Did you drop them off the same day you bought them?
Yeah, I think so.
Huh?
Yeah.
And what did you use to pay for those?
I think it was my MasterCard. It's either MasterCard or cash, something like that. I had it all floating around, so.
Okay. MasterCard, what kind of MasterCard do you have?
It's a prepaid MasterCard.
Prepaid MasterCard
from the cash store.
the cash store?
Yeah.
Okay. Why do you use a prepaid MasterCard?
I had a bankruptcy about 6 years ago, so it's almost going off the record and everything like that.
Yeah, so you use
It's kind of a pesky thing that's following me around, and I didn't really find a lot of need for credit cards because it wasn't something that was ever really that big of a pressing deal. Ever since, like, I learned my lesson, and the reason that I actually had to file that in the first place, and this is like goes back to stupid young man crap.
Yeah. Hey,
we'll
run through it. I know what it's like. Yeah.
Well, at 21, I got married the first time, young and stupid, to someone that I thought I was going to be with forever, and for the wrong reasons. Long story short, I moved to the U.S. because she was a U.S. citizen, got residency down there, but the problem was I didn't understand how long it would take to get that process done, and I lived down there for a little over 10 months before I actually had a legal work permit to be able to bring in an income. So while I'm down there following my heart, racking up, like, you know, my bills are still there, all of this stuff is mounting up. It was over 20 grand worth, and then I was just like, damn. So between having that on my plate and at that point in my life, believing I was going to be in the U.S. for a while, I figured that filing a Canadian bankruptcy was the best way to go. And my trustee felt the same way. So I filed with them, got it taken care of, got discharged from it within like the same year. But it's just one of those things that sticks on your credit rating. So when that relationship didn't work out, and I moved back to Canada, they still follow me around. It wasn't that big of a deal, because again, I'm not racking up debt or anything like that. I'm just living my life, getting, you know, my job and my place and paying my bills and stuff like that. I didn't need to have credit. So, but the thing is like, if you ever want to book a hotel room or a flight or anything, shop online, use eBay. You know, it's just easier to have a credit card. So when Much Music had their MasterCard out, I got that thing, ended up losing it. It was a huge pain in the butt anyway, because you can only load it online, and you pay these little fees for every little thing. Even just to call in to check your balance, it charges a fee. So I went to the cash store and said, okay, I need something that's going to be a little more handy, a little more useful, something I can load just by going into the store instead of having to get online and do it every time. And so I got that.
Yep, and that's how you start rebuilding credit. You start off.
I don't even know if prepaid reports your credit payment history or not, but
I think it does help.
Could help. The mortgage, I thought, was a big one. Well, the two big ones that are helping me build my credit back right now are a business loan that I have through TD, which is almost paid off, that I took out to give me the boost for getting all my equipment for shooting Star Wars, and the mortgage. So that was just
mortgage on
my house.
It
was crazy the way that happened, because I was convinced for the amount of income that my wife made and her track record with credit, she'd be the one to get the mortgage, but they looked at the overall situation and said I was the guy. So okay. Went in there, did all the paperwork, filed it up, and got it done, and so that worked out really well. went through a broker. It was a bit of a hassle here and there because there's these like little straggler bills from 5-6 years ago that were kind of there, and they're these are the lenders saying, here's all the conditions we want to lend you the money. So like, give us proof that you paid this Rogers bill back in the day, or that it still counts under your bank or two, you've taken care of it. And last I checked, that was gone. So little hassle stuff like that, but it was pretty much just a relatively smooth ride. Was able to secure that up and get it done, and worked out great.
Now, I'm going to ask you a couple of questions about the business. Now, you told me about some projects you're shooting on, and I want to ask you if you're doing any other kind of shooting there. Like, is there any, and I mean, I'm just wondering because it brings into play different sort of characters. Are you shooting any porn there or anything like that?
No.
Okay.
I've actually been teased about that a lot.
Yeah.
And I tease back by saying that, oh, I should have gotten into porn because it's guaranteed money in the bank. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's really not the environment for that. For one thing, it's not even heated.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, no. It's just,
it would be a little cool.
And then, again, if a filmmaker gets into that side of the industry, the other side will never take you seriously.
Okay.
So, unless I want to go making like 100 aliases, call myself Dick Hart or some stupid porn name or whatever, you know, like that just wouldn't make any sense. And I've never been really anywhere near interested in that kind of material. I want to be taken seriously. I don't necessarily have to go after Academy Awards or anything like that. I just want to make movies that will entertain people and get out there and into actual movie theaters and have tickets and stuff like that. So that's always been the ultimate goal for me. But yeah, no porn or anything like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, have you ever heard of these online dating site kind of things? What are some of the ones you've heard of?
Oh man, I don't know. Match.com. I've heard of the Plenty of Fish one.
Okay. Plenty of Fish.
Yeah, there's, what else is there? I don't know, there's a bunch of them, there's like hundreds of them.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. You don't frequent them?
No.
Okay.
I did some research on them for a freelance article that I wrote, that was like about a month ago.
About a month ago?
Maybe more. It's a little over a month ago. This freelance project that I got, I'm on this website called ifreelance.com to get like, you know, basically writing gigs and stuff like that. And this guy said, you know what, we needed an article for online dating and stuff like that, and the rules and the etiquette and whatnot. And I said, oh, okay, I'll jump on that. So checked out some of that stuff in order to write the article and put it together and did it and got paid for it and everything like that. So, yeah, but...
So what did you end up doing with that? So you pretend you're somebody and do the online dating sort of thing and land it all up?
Go there, but you tell everybody what's going on, right? Like I, you know, would say it's a social experiment for the purpose of figuring out what your guys' view and opinion of it is and that kind of thing. And it's a lot easier just to touch base with the people who use the site and get their overall opinion from it. Yeah. So they would say, well, you know, I get different opinions too. And the guys say things like, well, you know, it's really tough because there's lots of competition. The girls come back with the feedback of, well, everybody on here is a pig, you know, and that kind of thing. And so I kind of, you know, break that down, try to get a little more creative with it and make it something that someone would actually feel like reading. And the way I understood it was that they were trying to get something that they could have published in like Maxim Online or something like that and then post it. For me, I wasn't worried about the publishing part because they can do whatever they want with it. It's just like, you know what, if I'm going to write this for you, give me a paycheck and we're good. So,
here, done, gone.
Yeah.
So in that, you weren't really posing as a person that was trying to date people. What you were doing is just contacting them saying, hey, looking for views on... Okay. And that's why you know what some of those sites are. Okay. All right. Now, like I said, I'm going to talk to my people and see if I'm missing anything. And run over stuff. Bear with us a few minutes, and thank you very much.
Sure.
Okay.
If you come back and I'm sleeping, just nudge me up.
All right. Yeah. Okay. You won't start swinging when you know. Okay.
I'm a
Jedi. Big leg.